Hey, what's up, y'all? I'm back again. Um, Today, in moments in history, I will be discussing the Emancipation Proclamation. Now, the Emancipation Proclamation was BFD for the Civil War, mainly for the Union winning and shit. So what had happened was Lincoln had called out. He was just saying, "Hey, South, you know what? I'm not gonna take this shit, man. We're gonna have free people. So I'm gonna allow everybody to be free. Like all the slaves, I'm gonna free the slaves and then I'm gonna free all the slaves using this Emancipation Proclamation. The problem was that because the thing is it said it freed all the slaves in the southern territories, even though the Union technically was not part of this like the South wasn't technically part of the Union anymore. So it was like a retroactive thing. He was like, I think it was more or less like trying to say, well, you should do this, and when we come over here and we take over and we kick y'all's asses, that's what's gonna happen. They're gonna be free. That's what needs to happen. And I think that was kind of cool because he was just trying to show off. Oh yeah, we got all the cards. And y'all need to shut up. I mean, it didn't really have a big significant impact at first, but what it ended up doing was, even though like all the Southerners tried to suppress it, like getting from the slaves and stuff, when the slaves heard about it, they actually hoped it would incite more like of the slaves to want to go out and cause more like try and stop try and like escape because they know that like they're covered by law. So the thing was, but like I said, the Southerners didn't want their slaves to know, hey, look, this is illegal now. We don't have to be free. We don't have to be slaves anymore. We can leave. So that was a problem, big problem for the whole reason why Civil War started in the first place. So you didn't have like especially in Texas, you didn't even have people learn about it until like 2 3 years later after the war was over. That was some pretty interesting shit too, because then like I think that's why that's something called Juneteenth. Because in Juneteenth is actually celebrates the knowledge that the slaves in Texas were free when in Galveston, which is kind of interesting. I mean, it was like 1868 or something like that, 1867, something like that. It was what after the Civil War was over. Anyway, that's a different point. So like, what it did was, it just, it basically just, it bolstered the whole idea that the North was just helped the North get some leeway in the South and kind of piss people off in the process. And that's always good, especially when your enemy is a such supporter of racism and slavery and shit. So I mean, if you can chop that off, I mean, you're good. That's mainly what you got to remember. I mean, that looking like that was the main impact that the Gettysburg Address had. I mean, no, Emancipation Proclamation had on on the war in general. It was more of a psychological thing than an actual like concrete physical thing. So keep that in mind.